The HARP program. U.S. government has a new ground-based Star Wars weapon which is being tested in the remote bush country of Alaska. This new system manipulates the environment in a way which can disrupt human mental processes, jam all global communication systems, change weather patterns over large areas, that's happening right today, interfere with wildlife migration patterns, negatively affect your health, unnaturally impact the Earth's upper atmosphere. The U.S. military calls its Zapper HARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, but this skybuster is not about the northern lights. This device will turn on lights never intended to be artificially manipulated. It's all explained in this book. It's available, I think, back here today. Looking at the Gulf War illness, the British troops and the American troops who were vaccinated, 440,000 of them, they were the ones that became ill, not the other troops who were not vaccinated. Looking at the food shortage, people said, oh, there's no food shortage. I have an article here, June 12, 1995, Spotlight Magazine. During the last 18 months, the government has been storing hundreds of tons of grain and other foodstuffs in some 50 secret underground facilities around the country. There are certain grain shortages areas that are empty on a regular basis to the extent that there's hardly any grain available for the general public. Look at it. Let's go on to the next item. Oops. I'm not doing so well, am I? Oops. Let's see. Okay. We talked about financial panics and so forth, depression, financial problems. The infiltration into continental Freemasonry was next discussed extensively. The speaker stated that their purpose would be to take advantage of the facilities and secrecy Freemasonry had to offer. He pointed out that they could organize their own Grand Orient lodges within Blue Masonry in order to carry on their subversive activities and hide the true nature of their work under the cloak of philanthropy. He stated that all members initiated into their Grand Orient lodges should be used to politicize purposes and for spreading their atheistic, materialistic ideology amongst the Goyams. He ended this phase of the discussion with the words, "When the hour strikes for our sovereign Lord of all the world to be crowned, these same hands will sweep away everything that might stand in their way." Number 17, he next expounded the value of systematic deception, pointing out that their agentur should be trained in the use of high-sounding phrases and the use of popular slogans. They should make the masses the most lavish of promises. He observed the opposite of what has been promised can always be done afterwards, that is, of no consequences. He reasoned that by using such words as freedom and liberty, the Goyams could be stirred up to such a pitch and patriotic fever that they could be made to fight even against the laws of God and nature. He added, and for this reason, after we obtain control of the very name of God, we'll be erased from the lexicon of life. He then detailed the plans for revolutionary war, the art of street fighting, and outlined the pattern of the reign of terror, which he insisted must accompany every revolutionary effort, because it is the most economical way to bring the population to a speedy subjection. Well, we have most recently here Janet Reno, among other things, once a national hit team, February 27, 1995. You find it interesting that she is talking about using U.S. military units as well as personnel from all the federal agencies, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, drug enforcement agencies, and I'm sure the FBI, yes, the FBI. And in fact, under the proposed new act, the Rapid Deployment Strike Force would be commanded by Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI and would be staffed by not only FBI agents, but through the transfer of personnel from their elites and entities into the Department of Justice or any other federal agency. So, we have there a direct contradiction and violation of the posse comitatus. I might mention that it's been documented that the military and civilian law enforcement agencies, federal agencies, have had a series of joint training sessions in Michigan and in Arizona in house-to-house training. House-to-house training of going in and searching the houses and taking over a facility. Well, let's see, what was that last question? That was number 18. Number 19. Diplomacy was next discussed. After all wars, secret diplomacy must be insisted upon in order that our agentur, masquerading as political, financial, and economic advisors, can carry out our mandates without fear of exposing who are the secret power behind the national and international affairs. The speaker then told those present that by secret diplomacy they must obtain such control that the nation cannot come to even an inconceivably private agreement without our secret agents being on hand. Number 20, the ultimate world government is the goal. To reach this goal, the speaker told them it will be necessary to establish huge monopolies, reservoirs of such colossal riches that even the largest fortunes of the Goyams will depend on us to such an extent that they will go to the bottom together with the credit of their government on the day after the great political smash. The speaker then added, you gentlemen here present who are economists just strike an estimate of the significance of this combination. Well, I think you may recall, since you are a well-educated group, about the meeting in San Francisco, September 27th to October 1st, global plans for global civilization. Gorbachev, Bush led the charge. It was chaired by Ted Turner. Margaret Thatcher was also there. Margaret Thatcher was the one person that said, no, I want to maintain sovereignty for Great Britain, for England. And she walked out on it. What about our people? Don't you think we deserve sovereignty? Of course we do. And now, in order to take over the world, or take over the country, you have to have certain situations which are in existence, and certain commands, and certain mandates, and a certain degree of power. And this is it right here. These are presently in order right now. Executive orders now in effect. Check them one against the Communist Manifesto. We'll turn over to the Communist Manifesto next. Now let me explain. Executive orders, this is unconstitutional, this whole thing right here. Because executive orders were designed to give directives to departmental heads within the government. In other words, the president can tell the director of the FBI, do this. He can tell the Department of Justice, Attorney General, do this. The Postmaster General, do this. Okay? Executive Order 10995 takes over all communications. Executive Order 10997 takes over all electric power, petroleum, gas, fuel, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 takes over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 10999 takes over all means of transportation, controls highways and seaports. Executive Order 11000 drafts all citizens into workforces under government supervision, slave laborers. Sounds like Nazi Germany to me. Executive Order 11001 takes over all health, welfare, and educational functions. We already have what's the United Nations outcome education? And this is in many of our schools today, so they've already started in the educational functions. Executive Order 11002 empowers the Post Office General to register all citizens nationwide. They're probably already doing that through credit cards, and Social Security Administration. I'd say that's probably already in effect. Executive Order 11003 takes over all airports and aircraft. Executive Order 11004 takes over housing and finance authorities and housing designated as unsafe, establishes new locations for populations, builds new housing with public funds. Executive Order 11005 takes over railroads, inland waterways, and